Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. As today, we're still pretty light on the specifics, but at least we've got a general idea of what we're doing. Saving people, hunting things, the family business. And I've got to say, it really does feel like we're coming up on the end of Act 3 here. Obviously, we still have at least a few loose ends, though I'd say it's probably a question mark as to whether or not those will be tied before the end of this particular act. But, we'll see how it goes. For now, we've got Farseers to save, we've got Drukhari to kill, and a portal to secure. As always, one step at a time. Let's get in there. Huh, okay. Not gonna lie, really kind of thought we'd be walking into a firefight. Also, no sign of Argenta. Also, I do feel like it's a little weird. They said that we heard the sound of approaching footsteps and voices from a door that now appears to lead out to a dead-end balcony. You see a number of containers of some sort beyond the enclosure. Armor of Despair. Drukhari medium armor, which debuffs all enemies in combat. Also grants extra armor versus humans, though sadly completely useless to us. Even if we were to give Yurliette Drukhari proficiency, she's just not with us for too much longer. Not in our active squad anyway. Though we'll have to see how the rest of this run goes, I suppose. Perhaps she'll find some way to redeem herself. Avenger Tactical Gauntlets. Whenever an attack of opportunity is performed against the wearer gains a stack of vengeance, which adds extra damage to the wearer's attacks of opportunity. What does that scale off of? Agility bonus, okay. And a peripheral control monocle, which grants plus dodge and parry for each enemy adjacent to the wearer when using non-combat abilities. I think it's pretty clear we're seeing what would have been gear for Marazai had we actually recruited him. Though I could also see that being useful for someone like Abby or Pask, since obviously we have them use a ton of non-attack abilities in combat. There's some possibilities there. I'll have to mull on that. I will say my gut reflex is to give that to Abby because monocle, but I think the helmet he's got on right now is actually pretty solid for his build, so I'd have to do some careful consideration there. Might be an easier fit on Pask. Cautious Pilot and Bold Pilot. Hey guys, what's going on? The two pilots are already disarmed and shackled. They give you a haunted look as you approach them, but do not dare to say anything. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that might explain the lack of resistance we saw out here. I mean, this has to be Nocturne's handiwork, because Argenta would not have left them alive. I can steer a gondola, Alentech. We do not need these pilots. Oh, I see. Okay, so if we did need a pilot, if we didn't have Yurliette with us, we would have to choose either the cautious or bold pilot, one of whom I'm sure would end up steering us wrong. You know who I am, you know who I'm working with. Everyone else who's tried to stop us so far is dead. I need this boat. You gonna try to stop me? The pilots look at the fresh blood all over your face and clothes, exchange glances, and take off running without a word. The gondola is yours. I mean, I really probably should have just killed them, but I will say there is some satisfaction in humbling the haughty Drukhari. Besides, they'll almost certainly end up being killed anyway for their failures, so why not let it fester a bit? Argenta? How in the world did you get here ahead of us? Nocturne, I imagine? The gargantuan spire is too large to see in its entirety. Its true proportions are shrouded in shadows, and you feel as if those shadows try to envelop and swallow you whenever you look away. Grinning savagely, Ulfar says with undisguised joy, "I smell blood in the air, blood that is about to be spilt. I hear the echo of clashing swords and the terrified screams of Xenos writhing under our heel. Oh, Father, what a marvelous feast you have prepared for me!" The colors here are especially dark and dangerous. It is as if I am drowning in a bottomless ocean of billowing haze. But what is it? I feel a faint tremor coming from deep inside the spire, like the call of the Immaterium, except much purer. Elentok. Yurliet touches the glowing stone in her chest and turns her aching gaze to the spire. Her face is burdened with a strange expression, as if a roaring torrent of sadness, fear, and rage is about to erupt. My kin from Kruderok are still there. I can sense it, as I can sense the flames of their souls inexorably going out. Fury and fear are devouring me from the inside out. I do not know what frightens me more, the grim answers that hide behind the spire's walls, or the scars that my heart will bear once I discover them. Yet, I must learn the truth about my world. Perhaps this is the day the outcast finds her path again. Well, let's hope so, Yurliet. I will say, whilst our time together has been problematic, it would still be nice to finally get some answers. And, perhaps save a few lives in the process. You speak the truth, Alentak. Let us be on our way. We will tear their lives from the clutches of my insatiable cousins. She turns her face to you, and, despite her tense expression, you see the corners of her mouth twitch. I find myself wondering once again whether the Farseers ever saw that someday their fate may rest in the hands of a monkey and an outcast. As for the webway gate that the Erebenian mentioned, for it to open before you and let you enter the webway, you will require help from one of our kind. Yurliet's brow furrows. I could try to open the gate, but to do that I would need a certain construct, a resonance device. The masters of this place must keep it close at hand. If you wish for me to use my knowledge and open a path out of Camorra for us, find this item. Without it, I am powerless to make the webway allow us entry into its labyrinths. Right, I'll certainly keep that in mind. And since you can detect the presence of your comrades, you have some sort of game plan? Farseers are not easy captives to keep. Whatever the Dark Ones are using to repress my kin's powers, these tools will be noticeable. I will find a way to them. Okay, well, not much of a plan, but sure. Let's get this done. The spire of the Reaving Tempest welcomes you with muffled noises seeping from its dark walls. Distant voices, footsteps, and screams of pain. also level up. And I gotta say, I don't know if I really feel like I earned that one, but sure, I'll take it. Argenta? Ah, okay. That's just if we want to swap you back in. I am sure she is no doubt eager to kill more Drukhari, but unfortunately for her, she killed a rogue trader, so now she's on timeout. Anyway, one sec whilst I get a gander at our options here, and then we'll tackle these level ups. Be right back. And we're back. Alright, let's run through this real quick. And I will say, despite being a 2-talent level up, 1 exemplar talent and 1 tier 2 talent, it actually ended up being pretty straightforward, since most of our characters are getting overlapping exemplar talents. Valen and Juliet, for example, are both getting Death Dealer, which isn't necessarily the most efficient talent they could be taking, but I do feel like it's one of the more fun ones. That automatically grants them a bonus shot the first time they kill someone each round. As for his tier 2 talent, we're grabbing Perfect Opening. Very straightforward. An extra chance for damage every time he hits an opening, which is pretty much always. As for Juliet, aside from Death Dealer, she will also grab Claim and Maim, which gives her a fairly reliable source for guaranteed crits, at least as long as there are trash mobs handy. Then for our 3 melee-focused characters, starting with Abby here, all 3 of them, as aforementioned, will be grabbing Peak Condition, which grants a massive boost to strength, 20% of their maximum wounds. Some will definitely get more use out of it than others. I think Abby gets about plus 30. Pask a meager plus 20, 25-ish. But then Ulfar, oh boy, he's up like 40, 45. So, definitely worth the investment. We'll be getting that one on Kibbles as well. I think she's another one getting like 40 plus points of strength from it. And then beyond that, of course, each of them gets a more build-specific talent. Abby picks up Renitent Beacon, which, given that he's constantly in the thick of it, is essentially just plus 15 dodge and parry. Pask gets Peak Condition, and then also Manipulator Push, one I've been meaning to pick up for a while now. It is an expensive ability at 2 AP, but there's a lot to be said for having an auto hit with guaranteed damage and a push effect. Though I would still like to grab Scanner Mechadendrite just so we can, deck him out with his full set of arms. That's the only one we're missing. As for Ulfar, Peak Condition, that's like plus 40 strength. And then Arms Master, which I do notice they've now specifically listed as having a minimum amount it can reduce attack cost to, which is fair because otherwise infinite loops. But it should still nonetheless help us squeeze in an extra attack or two on a fairly regular basis, at least in theory. Which brings us to Cassia, who is going off the beaten track. And I actually want to try something a little weird with her. There are safer choices, but I'd like to try Malign Influence, which adds a fairly significant damage component to all of her willpower resist abilities, which I think primarily right now is her forced moves and her gaze attack. But in theory, it should make both of those significantly deadlier, especially the forced move, since that one already has an extra damage chaser on it per space moved, so this would essentially add 11 base, then plus spaces moved, or just a flat 22 if they resist moving. And then her secondary, of course, is pretty much what you'd expect. It's finally time to undam the Sea of Souls, which officially finishes up our list of Navigator talents. That's it. So henceforth, all of her remaining talent slots can just go towards class or general skill stuff. Bit late in the game, but we've still got at least one full act ahead of us, so plenty of time to take advantage. And that's it. Level up complete. I will also note that as of this point, we now do have multiple characters who do qualify for the Secret of the Forerunners. That stat boosting bag that we've currently got on Yurliet, but we'll need to hand off once she's been officially benched. My current thought is Ulfar, but I am keeping my options open there. That said, let us not proceed into the Spire of the Reaving Tempest, but rather circle back. Because it turns out we walked right past this on our way in. The dim light sources of Camorra glow like swamp lights, making you dizzy and nauseous. Just cargo, but still, rather have it than not. And then we also just saw another container on our map. Far side, so let's go collect that as well. Here we go. The vast towers of Camorra spring up out of the darkness surrounding the spire at insane angles, violating all the laws of physics and perspective.
I always have a backup plan.
Cargo, nice. Huh. Okay, that's weird. We apparently detected the trap on this container, but we cannot actually interact with the container itself. That feels like it's probably a bug. I'll go ahead and quick save that for now and report it. I will say, though, it does feel like we're starting to see a bit more jank as we've gone through Act 3.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
The thing with Cassia, the occasional repeated chunks of dialogue, and now this. Interesting.
You are more akin to a wild beast than a member of your species.
Be silent. If you continue your vile and insolent speech, you may truly set eyes on a beast.
Yeah, Yurliet, you might want to learn some restraint. Now more than ever. For your own sake, if no one else's. The sinister labyrinth looks like a death trap. It was probably created for just such a purpose. Right. That's why this place is such a cluttered mess. Man, I was really hoping for more of a stand-up fight and a quick exit. I've actually found Act 3 pretty fascinating, you know, bugs aside. But I am so Drukari'd out. They are definitely not my favorite part of the Warhammer 40k universe. I mean, look, all the factions in Warhammer 40k are pretty terrible in their own various ways. The Drukari are just gross. Okay, so that's obviously where we're supposed to go.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Which means we should fill out all these other platforms first. Make sure we grab everything that's not nailed down.
I sense something nearby.
Okay, so what does this do? Ah, I see. Okay, so that clears up the entry corridor. Let's pop back around to the entrance real quick. Fill out that part of the map.
Keep your wits about you.
Cargo. Trap. Okay, so we're facing entrance, which means chest off that way. Yeah, past the trap. Plus possible further branching path. That's where we came in. No reason to go back outside, so double back. Squeeze past this trap.
The songs of my ancestors speak of stars long forgotten and worlds long gone. What a shame that you lack the capacity to understand even a single note.
Let us not dawdle.
Chest off on right. There we go. Also, a ton of corpses. But why would you expect any less? Ugh, gosh. You know, like, Chaos is gross too. The forces of Chaos, but at least they mix things up. You know, you've got 3 distinct flavors of Chaos. Plus your Chaos United blend. Though I suppose if you lumped all the Eldari together in general, you could argue
I always keep my options open.
that the Eldari, the Drukhari, and the Harlequins are 3 different flavors of the same race. I just kind of wish we were dealing with the others more and the Drukhari less. Oh, we've got more projectiles. Blocking off access to this whole corridor here. So actually, maybe we do need to go up those stairs to get to the shutoff, since it does seem to be coming from that direction. Trap, right? Okay, so yes, it does look like it goes right to where we would more or less need to be to disable that projectile device. Also, bonus loot. That felt unnecessarily elaborate. You could have just had that first thing be a container. Pistol we'll never use. Neat. Sharpshooter rifle. Ugh. That ammo count, my goodness. That is such a shame. Might have almost been competitive otherwise. Xenospasm grenades, melta-charges, we'll take them. And another container, nice. Looks to be a dead end otherwise. The corpse was dismembered and then reassembled, apparently while still alive. Numerous stitches and burns indicate that the surgeon was not concerned with humane treatment. What? No, that doesn't sound right.
I always have a backup plan.
The view of the intertwining and intricate passages of the labyrinth fascinates and draws the eye. I mean, if you say so, Brain. I think it looks like a non-Euclidean nightmare. Cargo. And hopefully a shut-off valve? Huh. Okay, well now it's taking us off in the wrong direction. So what do we have over here? We'll get a quick peek, then I'll double back. Maybe we are meant to just run across the corridor between those projectiles. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, this is definitely not where we want to be. That's our way to the next area. Alright, hold on a sec. Let me go scout the projectile corridor again. See if there's something I missed. And it turns out the answer is yes. I did, in fact, miss something. The projectiles apparently stop just short of the end of this corridor, giving us a narrow but presumably safe path. Haven't actually tested it, though, so let's give it a shot.
Keep a sharp eye.
Oh, wow. Okay, I see. Yes, you do have a safe corridor here, but it's designed to encourage you to try to rush across, which would run you right into this. Wow, that's mean. Oh, shoot. Also, we've got a Farseer over here. Is this... If that's where the captives are, I'm definitely glad we doubled back. I would not have wanted to miss them. So can we shut this off? I don't want to... Yes, okay, thank goodness. There we go. Well, thank goodness for that. Let's grab our loot, then we'll have a chat with yonder Farseer. Who looks more or less intact. Ooh. Some sort of laser fence, perhaps. With a lower area, we can also progress down to all sorts of stuff down there. Let's hold off on that just yet. Oh, also papers. Let me grab those before we chat up our friend here. Research report. I'm sure this won't be nightmare-inducing. The thick stack of pages made of a strange material has been hastily tied with a coarse piece of string. The pages are covered in sharp, uneven handwriting and have brown stains on them. Goal: several-fold increase in Veil energy. Note: enhancing the Veil connection will require merging the minds of 4 specimens. Note: 4 individuals, 2 male and 2 female, selected from among Cruderok Farseers. Aside from their Veil connection, the specimens have no common traits. Merging process expected to be fascinatingly painful. Stage 1, hearts of 3 Eldari placed inside the thorax of the 4th, the most resilient among them. Redundant original heart removed. Other internal organs preserved. Specimens conscious throughout the surgeries. Stage 2. Despite the blockers, the partial brain transplants were accompanied by several energy discharges, resulting in equipment damage. The potential is amazing. The integrated subject was punished by an intramuscular injection of an acidic solution that erodes soft tissue from the inside. Stage 3. Subject stable and controllable, undergoing significant physical and psycho-emotional distress as the Aeldari minds are becoming aware of the situation. The energy discharges increase every time the blockers are eased or pain receptors are directly stimulated, confirming the expected result. In order to intensify the pain experience, the subject will be nourished by essences of its own torture. Stage 4. The Aeldari consciousness are trying to consume one another, perhaps in order to lower the net pain awareness. Curious. The subjects must continue to be saturated with its autogenic agony, with added psychotranquilizer injections. Note: enhance the subject's physical suffering with internal bone tissue disintegration. After that, the notes become mercifully indecipherable. I hate this. Alright, well, I'm gonna guess... Please don't tell me that's this guy over here. Sir and or madam, are you in fact 4 Aeldari squished into a single body? I mean, you don't look like it, but I guess we'll find out. Sad music. That's not a good sign. Kaitan! Kaitan, my son! The Aeldari Farseer's tortured body is barely moving. You have seen abject creatures like this before. Stitched together from several bodies, their miserable existence serves but to satisfy their homunculus master's morbid interest in perversions of the flesh. And yet, this one is not like the others. A twin face stitched together from parts of several male and female Aeldari turns its unseeing gaze toward you. Its eyes have been crudely sewn shut. You have come, my son. A woman's ghostly whisper escapes the cut-up lips, oozing blood and pus. Hold the line! Don't let the corruption spread further! A commanding shout comes, with a cough, from inside the ripped-open thorax where 3 hearts are beating inside a single ribcage, as in a prison of bone. I've finished the statue, master. A fleeting, satisfied expression passes over the stitched face, as a suave young voice interrupts the warlike shouting. We are all united in the shadow of the great tree, sister, until killerMinnow claims our hearts. Your elucidator discerns yet another voice, soft and profound. Oh, Isha, mother of all life, may your blessing protect the children of Asuryan from the abominations of bodily and spiritual torture. The Aeldari's hand twitches as she reaches for her weapon. Okay, well, you know what? As much as I'd like to ask questions, I think we can immediately see this thing is in no shape to answer them. Juliet, I don't think there's anything we can really salvage here. But I leave it to you to decide their fate. That is not so. The accursed homunculus has merged not just the Farseer's bodies, but their souls as well. They are still inside, in agony, torn to pieces by memories, their own and others. But I can sense the shadow of she who thirsts creeping ever closer, to devour them and erase them from this world forever. I cannot let that happen.
My spirit fades.
Yep. Okay, so... was that our survivors? Are we done? Have we failed to rescue, Well, let's see what else we've got here. Perhaps there is still someone salvageable to be found. Though I do dread now what may lie ahead.
Keep your wits about you.
Whoever is imprisoned inside the capsule, they are moving ever so slightly. Okay, guess I can't do anything with that one. A young Eldari's body is floating in a murky glass vat filled with acrid, acidic sludge. If the built-in xenocogitator's changing readings are anything to go by, the Eldari is alive, or, at any rate, not quite dead. This body belongs to a Farseer. I sense dormant energy coming from his exhausted mind. We must set him free, Alantak. Okay, here we go. Another of the insane homunculus's creations designed for cruel experiments. The vat is part of a larger mechanism which has a small mechanical dashboard built into its casing. You are, however, unfamiliar with the symbols on it. The thick tubes that deliver the suspicious-looking liquid straight into the vitreous depths of the mechanism disappear into its inexplicably smooth casing. The glass itself seems quite brittle, though. Odd. These symbols are unfamiliar to me. I suppose the homunculus is using a special code, so no overly curious assistant can hamper his experimentation. Well, I mean, pushing buttons blindly on any device is a bad idea, let alone a Drukhari torture device. So, as much as I hate to say it, we might just have to take our chances with a quick smash and grab. Careful. Watch your step. Can you hear me? Yurliet helps the Farseer out of his prison, avoiding the broken glass. Wow, not gonna lie, I was really expecting some sort of countermeasure. The Eldari is completely disoriented. His wandering gaze shifts between you and Yurliet, then returns to the vat from which he just emerged. My purpose is to comply? Yes. I am born so I may die. My pain is your delight, Master. Hey, Morag, what did that madman do to him? Hey, listen to me. You're safe now, just what do you remember? I remember the taste of pain, and the smell of pain, and the color of pain, too. You are the one who dreams of what has come to pass, and what yet lies in the haze ahead. A Farseer from a craft world. Do you remember where you came from? What happened to your world? The Farseer stares at his hands in surprise, ignoring Yurliet's questions. Every finger in place? But why? The first one goes for the sake of pain and pleasure. The second one disappears when it is time for humility. The third? What happens to the third? Yurliet's shoulders sink in defeat. Alantak, I do not think he is going to tell us anything of value. Is there no one left who can answer my questions? Do you know how you ended up here? Who did this to you? The Farseer looks up at you with frightened eyes. Be quiet. Master will come back. Master will punish. Piece by piece. Piece by piece. By piece. By piece. And this vat? I assume it's what he uses to put you back together afterwards? The Farseer looks around the room with interest, ignoring you completely. I have been here many times in my past lives, and I will be in my future ones. An infinite cycle. Juliet shrugs hesitantly. Rebirth? Healing? Visions of the future? What is the point of eternal life if it only ever brings suffering? Well, whatever it is, I once again leave it to you to decide his fate. He is coming with us, Elentech. I will not let you abandon him here. I need him.
I will join the ancestors.
Without waiting for Juliet to finish her sentence, the Farseer suddenly turns his head towards her. For the first time, his gaze is clear and focused. Child, you have returned to us at a dark hour. No! Juliet leans over the Eldari's body to help, but his eyes are wide open, and his chest no longer rises and falls from his cautious breath. He was aware. He remembered me, Elentech. And then suddenly he was dead. What kind of curse haunts Kruderok's children within these walls? Let us go. I refuse to believe there is no one else left. Do you understand? I cannot let the serpent in my soul devour my already fading hope. My hope of finding out the truth of what happened to Kruderok. There is no giving up now, after the lengths I have gone to in order to get here. We will find other Farseers. We will. Yeah, I don't know if I really want to at this point. I feel like anyone we find is going to have suffered some similar horrifying Hellraiser-esque fate. Okay, what now? Morag, what a strange feeling. Juliet clutches her head and her eyes dart around the torture chamber. King, take my heart. Placed on a grim stone pedestal in front of you is an intricate game board, broadly similar to the one Regicide players use. Miniature figurines of Drukhari and Asuriani, skillfully fashioned out of onyx and wraithbone, are frozen in elegant poses opposite each other. Several of them are toppled, and for a moment you think you see fresh blood running from under the game pieces down the small grooves carved into the board. Right, yeah, we're not touching those pieces. I believe I already know exactly what's happening here, but... Juliet, what's wrong? Juliet stares at the game board, stunned. It seems she never heard your question. Quiet. Please, stop. Stop torturing my mind. I will not let you become another spirit on the wind. Not for the light of 1,000,000 stars. Just let me explain myself. Yes, okay, right. So like a spirit stone transplanted into a game board, perhaps? Some twisted take on the Aldari constructs. No doubt meant to torment them via gameplay. Juliet, what's happening? I clearly have no idea. I left Kruderok because that was my path. Is that not what you have been teaching us from birth until the final moments of our lives? I can hear it very well. The mournful lament of our brothers and sisters tortured to death in this room. I would prefer not to hear it, but I cannot. As clearly as I hear the melody of your soul's torment. But don't you care? There is no need to blame me for what happened to you. Juliet clenches her jaw and seems to stop breathing entirely. The board game is another Farseer. Gone to pieces. Your words snap Yurliet back from her lapse of reason. How did you know? A monkey is incapable of hearing the call of the immortal soul of a child of Asuryan. Could it have been a simple guess? Yet you are absolutely right, Elentak. In their torture, the Dark Ones go far beyond the limits of the possible. For imprisoned within these game pieces, within this board designed for games that intrigue the mind, is the soul of a Farseer. But why? Why would the Drukhari do this? He asked, as if he didn't already know. Why does the wind blow and the rain fall? Why does starlight illuminate our path and darkness dismay us? It is their nature, for that is the way of the world. The Dark Ones feed on despair and suffering, while the Farseers are powerful beings of unbending will whose souls, however, are brittle. Every move on this game board causes the Farseer nothing but pain. She feels everything, sees everything, and is aware of everything. She dies with each taken piece, and is resurrected at the end of the game. Yurliet twists her mouth and averts her guilt-ridden gaze. Yeah, that sounds about right. It seems like you could communicate with her. What did she say? That I am a traitor and my path is paved with the bodies of my kin. That I am an outcast who carries the blame for the destruction of my home, since I heard the call of our dying ancestors, but did not return in time, and that it should have been me in her place. Yurliet, she's clearly in pain and lashing out. Even if you had somehow gotten back to your world in time, you would not have saved it or her. You would have simply been numbered among the victims. But I could have protected my home and met my end alongside the others. Yurliet's own words make her shudder as she stares at the flayed bodies of her brothers and sisters. Still, for as long as at least one child of Kruderok is alive, its memory will not vanish, and I am yet to reach the end of my path. The seed planted long ago is yet to grow and bring forth the flower of truth. Well, I mean, obviously not ideal, but this one is at least stable. We could take her back to Janus. It is hard to say how much more suffering her soul has yet to endure before we leave this city. She may even be devoured by Silent Thresh on the way. Its forms like these make our souls very brittle and defenseless. But if you think there is a chance she can be saved, I will not stand in the way. Oh, wow, okay, I didn't think you'd actually let me do that, but okay. The Farseer's soul trapped inside this intricate game board protects the artifact's owner from the deleterious influence of the Empyrean's forces. Though it does sound like it's our key through the webway, so... yeah, okay, alright. Not sure we can really help them long term, but at least it'll spare them further torment at the hands of the Drukhari. A kinder fate than they might have otherwise faced. Recoil War Boots. Reduces enemy cover efficiency by 40%. Also, minus 15 recoil. Interesting. Not super useful for our current crew. And Gloves of Rapid Desolation. Increases rate of fire of the wearer's weapon by 1. Each time an enemy is killed, Perplexed is inflicted on all other enemies in a 2-cell radius. Oh, that's interesting. Sadly, I don't think sniper rifles can actually benefit from that increased rate of fire since they have no burst fire option, but they might enjoy that perplexed effect. I mean, it would be ideal for Ulfar, but I sincerely doubt they'll fit. Alright, well, we are pushing the hour mark, so this feels like a good place to call it. And, you know, at least we did kind of, sort of, save one person. Maybe. Not sure what was going on with that other guy. The implication I kind of got was that it might have been a clone. That might be what the other tubes were about. Perhaps a single Eldar. Its mind constantly transferred from one flawed body to another. Each outfitted with some sort of contingency device so they wouldn't last long. You know, just in case they tried to escape, I suppose, or otherwise rebel. Oh, Drukhari. Man, I am so tired of Drukhari, but it can't be too much longer now. I mean, we'll finish exploring this area, which honestly, I'm surprised was tucked so far out of the way. We almost went right past it. But yeah, we'll hit the pause button for now. I will spend some time recuperating, go over the gear we picked up. I think there might be one or two things there we can use. And we will pick up here next time, as we continue walking the Hellraiser's edge. And man, I really do hope we find the local homunculi. I would very much like to shoot some faces. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you can even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
What a shame that you lack the capacity to understand even a single note.